Hey, how you doing? Greg, the dude, thank you for joining me. Welcome if you're a first-time viewer, and welcome back if you have watched one of my videos before. I really do appreciate it. Before I get into the video, I just want to point out that I am going to talk about some ways to focus your efforts on making progress on the things that you want to make real. So please stick with me to the end of the video to see my 3 strategies for making that happen. And lastly, before I kick into the video, I would like to throw out a special thank you to my son-in-law, Ben, for his advice and providing some guidance around things that I can do as I move forward as a YouTuber. My son-in-law, Ben, is on Framework Fortune. We also do a live stream every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Central. So if you get the chance, tune in. It'd be great to have you join us in those conversations. So thank you again for giving me a moment, and let's jump into it. So I'm going to start off with on something that I think is very, very important. As a business owner, I knew and experienced this many times with my job over the last 20 plus years, and that is to always be asking why. And this may have you wondering, well, why? And hopefully it does. And I'm going to give you just one real world example, and that's these videos. As I was looking over the last few days, I realized that I have very, very low view counts, and that led me to asking the question, why? Why are my view counts low? So what I have come to realize is I've just got to step up my YouTube video game a little bit. So that is something that I am going to have to plan out and start working on. So hopefully you'll see a little bit of an improvement in today's video and going forward. Next up, I wanted to cover the topic of what I have been doing this week. So there is a couple things. I have been working on prototype drink coasters. So here's an example. This is a D&D themed coaster, Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who aren't familiar. So one of the themes that I picked to start with. I also had the opportunity to do business type themed coasters. So that's something I've been thinking about and coming up with all different types of themes and different things to print. Might be able to either sell the files and or also sell the products in flat pack. Next up, going back to the D&D theme, I have been working on 3D prints to prototype out ideas I have around D20 wall art. In this particular case, this is one of my first prints. The intention was to use EL wire, electroluminescent wire, to fit into the grooves and wire this thing up and get it looking nice. First prototype led into second prototype. As you may notice, these are a little bit on the small side. I mean, it's not really a good wall art size. So I tried 3D printing something a little bit bigger and fitting it into the grooves, and still did not really feel like this was meeting what I was looking for. And I also realized that 3D printing this as one full piece isn't really going to get me to big sizes, because the long and short of it is my 3D printer, a Prusa Mini, is simply not big enough to do that. So I took another strategy, and that was to use foam core board, and I scaled up the size of the print that I was doing. And then use this as templates to cut these out in foam core. This particular EL wire emitter is got a little bit of background, so hopefully it doesn't get picked up on the camera, but just to give you a basic. So that is what it looks like illuminated. It also flashes at a couple different speeds. picked this up on Amazon, and I've been playing around with them. I did pick up a little bit better pack that has little to no background. So that's a little bit better opportunity. And lastly is this box behind me. This is a stash box. So this box is meant to be, and I think you might be able to see, this has glowing EL wire as well, both on the top and on the bottom. The box itself has the controller. I still have some work to do. I want to line this, but it's plugged in, or it's got a battery pack, and I'm working through how to set that up. The other point I'll make is that I'm using little mason jars for storing herb at the perfect temperature. Well, not necessarily the perfect temperature, but at the perfect humidity. I'm using Bovita as my current pack for stabilizing the relative humidity. And I'm also trying out inside these mason jars, I'm trying out using a humidity and temperature gauge to be able to confirm whether or not the product is at a good humidity level. So that is, again, part of the prototyping process, trying things out, see what works. So I'm really excited about the stash box and getting very close to getting that completed. So if you have any questions on any of the products I showed you, or the process and how I'm doing them, whether it be using Fusion 360 for 3D modeling, using a Prusa Mini for my 3D printer, or just the basic process of doing this type of prototyping, please feel free to comment in the below the video, and I will look to expound on that a little bit in future videos. So I really do appreciate any comments, any feedback that you have. So it doesn't need to be specific to anything I'm talking about today. Feel free, throw it down in the comments section. And by the way, please don't forget to like this video if you like it, and subscribe, hit the notification button, all of those things. So next up, and that is next up in what do I have planned for the next week? So number one is going to be to finish up the prototype of the stash box. I want to get it into my first tester's hands as soon as possible, so that I can start getting some real world feedback. I have tried it out a little bit, but again, that's, me as the person that's coming up with the idea, designing it and building it, not always the best place to go. One of the things that I have really now focused on from a prototyping standpoint is asking some family, and likely it will expand to a couple friends of family, to try out the stash box prototype. One condition of that, and it won't be purchasing it, it will actually be agreeing to having a survey that you'll go through and answer at 1 month, at 3 months, and then at 6 months. The intention is going to be to ask about, what do you think about the size of the box? How does it fit in with your decor, whether it be in your living room or your basement or your bedroom, wherever you want to put it. Is it functional? Is it filling that need? Is it cool? I mean, that's part of the company. This dude wants to create cool stuff. So I got to make sure that that's happening. I also intend to do some personalization. So I'll be able to show a little bit more of that once I've got it. I don't want to tell you about it. Hopefully you'll be able to see it in the next video. As well as get feedback from the survey on what might be missing, and suggestions for any other improvements. So that is the plan. I am also going to be looking at video improvements, which I already talked about. The video improvements are going to happen slowly over time. Hopefully you'll see a little bit better on the sound. I'm also going to be working on some video cards to make the videos when they're presented on YouTube a little bit more eye-catching. Hopefully that'll lead to a couple better views or a couple more views, and also kind of word of mouth stuff that I'm doing now that I've started this business to family and a couple friends, see what that drums up. Lastly, I'm going to cover challenges. I'm going to keep this going for every video at this point, but real briefly, this will also cover my strategies on how to deal with challenges when you are trying to make progress, whether it be in business, creating a business, starting a business, running a business, or any other facet of your life, really. And number one for me, out of my challenges, before I get into those strategies, number one for me was distractions. I will admit I was watching way too many videos and following Reddit about all of this GameStonk stuff. So put in a little too much time on that. So something I've noted, and I'm going to be using some strategies to clean that up. And number two, same as last week, and that is procrastination, which when you're wasting time through distractions and then you procrastinate on making progress, well, something's got to give. So again, I'm using some strategies to help me to better focus. And I am going to share the first strategy, and that is I am using a journal. So the journal is giving me the opportunity to think about what I have going on in my head. I've got a page for making ideas. I have a section for defining my actions, which I typically try and limit to 3 actions per day. Obviously, if I get through all of that stuff, I can certainly do more, but I really try and focus on getting through those 3 things. Those are 3 things that are important. And then also having the opportunity at the end of the day to review what I had planned and how well I'm sticking to that. So that's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is a schedule. I am using my digital schedule. This is on Google Calendar, but you can really use anything. You can use your work calendar if you want, whatever you have available to you, or you can write it even in your journal. I've seen a lot of people use some of their journal to write up their schedule, so that could certainly be an option there. And third, this is probably a little bit more out of left field for some at least, and that is to define processes. And I know I brought this up before. It's probably the least exciting as well, I understand. But I also find it's very helpful when you want to make progress to know where you're going next. So I try and start off whenever I'm thinking about this stuff of at least jotting down in my journal what are some of the process steps that I'm going to go through to complete something, get it to whatever that next milestone is. So like, for example, on the stash box, I literally just went through, starting with a 3D model, picking what the dimensions were going to be, identifying the materials, starting to outline what I think it's going to take from a labor perspective. What are the steps I'm going to go through to complete? What's the cut list? How do I think I'm going to assemble everything together? What things do I need to do after, like sanding and finishing and additional personalization, putting a liner inside, working on the mason jars and making sure I've got all of that straight. So again, just working through those steps. So as I am working through something, I know what comes next, and that I found helps with my motivation. So just to recap the 3 strategies that I use whenever I'm challenged by making progress on things that I want to do, whether it be for your business or for your personal ambitions. Number 1, journaling. Number 2, scheduling out your day. And number 3 is defining the process from beginning to end that you're going to take to follow through on what you want to get done. So thank you again very much. Remember, Please click that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Also, the subscribe button would really appreciate some attention. Maybe even that notify button could get a little. And thank you again. I really do appreciate it. Your comments will be helpful as we go forward. So take the opportunity to drop me anything that you have, whether it be questions, suggestions on future videos or future products. I am open to hearing what you have. So please share. So signing off, the dude abides. Have a great, great day.